Howdy, everybody. Welcome back, Dad. How you feeling?
A little groggy, but not too bad. Cannonball run.
Dad did the long stretch once again. I said, I don't mind, Dad. I'll drive with you. You know, it's no big deal. But Dad's just this super trooper trucker.
There's so much construction on I-70 and stuff. It's just kind of treacherous.
And I kept passing out, too. So
And yeah, I didn't want to throw that on you.
I do appreciate you driving and taking out to the trip. Indy was once again. I think that's what's been keeping me all messed up is not going to Indy, because that's just the absolute best thing to start the year with, I say. Got to hang out with so many people and all that. And, well, we got a truck full of stuff.
Oh, God.
And I mean a truck full. Because it was so bad that we ended up having to leave a pair of headers that we sold to Ryan that he prepaid and was supposed to pick up, but he accidentally forgot. So we're like, oh yeah, we'll just bring them back for you. And then because it's kind of like that last time we went to Mopar's to park, and we planned on selling a bunch of stuff and coming back with a smaller load, and we wound up coming back with
More stuff.
about just a few more things. Basically, we had to basically play Django, and now we've got this topper because it was supposed to rain every day in Kansas and every day in Indiana, and somehow summer came really early and it's beautiful, or spring. Join us as we clean up the shop and then dig out all of our finds.
Oh, God.
Like an archaeological dig. So, what do you say? This is exactly what 20 pounds of crap stuffed in a 5-pound bag looks like. You can't even close the tonneau cover. Oh well. Well, this is one of those jobs that very clearly turned into a lot more work. But that's to be anticipated because it's like spring cleaning, and I already started spring cleaning before spring was here. We're planning on putting shelves right here instead of where that red cabinet was, like I said. And that should work out pretty good. So, once that's taken care of, then we get to open the treasure trove. Ooh. Start that truck and move it. Hoo-wee! Look at all that. Jetty. Yeah, Dad.
What is that pile of crap in front of the Challenger?
Well, that's just a few things that I thought that we could maybe use while we were at Indy, you know. You know, the place where I go to sell parts. And I remember the tonneau cover fitting a lot better and not needing ratchet straps before we left. You were supposed to be my voice of reason, Dad. Come on now. What's up with all this?
Yeah, you know, you gotta buy it when it's in front of you.
That is true.
But it'd be nice if you could sell some of it when it's in front of other people.
You can't force no one to do nothing.
I sold them Chevy wheels.
You did do that.
Them Chevy wheels.
You sold Chevy wheels at a Mopar only swap meet.
Daggone right.
Super badass, level achieved. So, we have the mystery box, which we will show at the end. But what do you say? Let's dig into some of these totes, bags, and, well, obviously, just show off the things that may have been found in the dumpster, and some things that were purchased, and then some things that were just completely out of the blue and thrown at us, blindsided us, and basically made us scramble at the last minute to figure out how to pack everything.
Yeah.
So, Dad, you ready?
Oh, want me to run the camera?
No. All right, Jed. Let's see what you got.
Uh-oh. I don't know how to feel about that, Dad.
Well, I don't know about all that either. Why you always gotta go there?
You gotta come step over here. We got all these boxes. It feels like a TV talk show host, like Billy Mays here. I got all these wonderful gadgets and gadgets here that no one wanted. Well, only a few people bought. The coolest of the cool. I've got a whole box full of NOS 80s and 90s oil pressure gauges and whatnot. I mean, how much cooler can you get than that? $5 right there. And guys
$5.
passed on it. It lights up and it does a little cool stuff with the oil pressure gauge. And, you know, I can't do this all day, but also there are these magical things called amp gauges. Nobody ever uses these. And it's only like I got 3,000 of them, but you know what?
We got to run on the market.
That we do. So those did not sell. But, well, we did sell a few of those, but that's nothing we scored. But if anybody ever sees us, or if you need gauges, feel free to contact me.
And when you're down at the parts store spending $50 on a set of gauges,
You missed your opportunity because it's vacuum, oil pressure, and amp gauges.
you
But
know,
you didn't see the value, that's perfectly fine. Which one do you want to do next, Dad? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
let's start here at the end.
All right.
What you got in there?
Well, I don't know if we're going to start at the end.
Oh, the real end.
The real end. What do we got here, Dad?
Well, they're cheap.
Right out of the finest.
Somebody's gonna need that. Somebody's gonna need that. The van might end up with that.
I think you and I are going to have to Indian leg wrestle over that, so that way.
Power booster for a stereo.
But I got a bitchin' cassette deck going in the Polera.
They're going right.
This is all of Dad's magical finds while dumpster diving.
Dumpster diving.
At the Indy swap meet, sometimes the best stuff you find is the discarded relics of others' guys.
You see it just sticking out of the trash bag. You say, yep, gotta have that, gotta have that, gotta have that.
Only the finest.
I mean, those.
You
I
really
remember
can't-
putting something like that on my Charger, a couple of them. We had a hard time finding them.
You really can't go wrong with the B-Body 8 pillars. And,
Uh-oh. Something all aluminy.
and right now we got stock that did not sell. That's perfectly fine because this is a beautiful example of a Mopar M1 RB intake. And these are really nice manifolds. In fact, I always kind of wanted one for the satellite. If this was a low deck unit, I would probably put it on my satellite and replace the Street Dominator, but it's okay. It's gonna go back on the shelf. It's like brand new. It ain't gonna hurt nothing sitting on the shelf.
Right.
It ain't eating nothing, as Dad would say.
They ain't eating nothing.
And as for not eating nothing,
Oh, look at this bad boy.
we have an actual Chris Craft chrome plated dual quad marine manifold from Chrysler. And what makes this different from your normal dual quad intakes is your normal heat crossover is completely blocked off here and on the other side, and that's because they have these pipe plugs which are designed to have coolant running through them, water,
Lake water through them, yeah.
to help cool them. And the whole bottom passage, that's for water, for circulating around the intake manifold to help cool everything. The big truck units, their intakes, which are normally dual or just single 2 barrels or dual quads, have that same feature. But you'll notice after a little bit, I will show you another one of these that is a non-marine intake. This one came off of a Chris Craft boat. These are marine specific Edelbrock carburetors. This is a cool piece. I had plans to use it on an engine and a build that just never really happened, and well, it's got a new home now, so someday we'll find a guy who wants this intake, or you know what? We'll just put it somewhere else to use.
That might be the new secret cooling that intake.
Yeah, you imagine how cool you can get that?
You could run like dry ice through it. Liquid nitrogen. Freeze up your fuel filter.
But here we have a original cast iron car intake. And you'll see there's no pipes here. And I have tape on here, but there is your heat crossover that is opened up on your conventional car intake. But you'll notice this is basically the same shape, and the heat flows through the same place that the water does on the other intake. And I just think that's pretty daggone neat. Dad, are you ready to unbox this one?
I guess so.
Wow!
The bag
Uh-oh.
from the electric table.
You can never have too many of these nice ground straps here. Dad bought a little flavor variety of these.
Just because we're trying to get the old Polaro looking kind of like it's supposed to look.
I got valve stem core pullers.
Oh, we need that for the Challengers. Big old tires.
So now I feel bad because I destroyed this. So now these are all going to get lost.
We got an electrical drawer they'll go into.
You know what? That'll work.
And now they're gone.
Forever. Shall we continue, Dad?
I reckon so. What you got in this
Oh.
baby?
What we have in here is a lot of things that this was my knick-knack drawer. I got these mirrors for free because my buddy Jesse was threatening to destroy them, and even though they're plastic,
They still look cool.
and nobody bought them for 10 bucks. And that's one of those things at Indy that happens, is some things just get thrown away, and sometimes you find a cool hood scoop, sometimes you find some awesome mirrors, sometimes you find a set of brand new solid lifters. You just never know what you're gonna find while digging in the trash.
What'd we leave in the trash up there?
Oh,
Left set of gauges. A gauge cluster mount. Somebody had put next to the trash can.
Ryan's headers about got left.
Yeah.
We did sell a number of valve covers and a few of these sets of turn signals. I think it's honestly going to be best to basically not unpack this tote, because this is all going to be stuff that we can potentially take to, say,
Mocan.
Mocan or Mopars in the park.
Mocan be next, will it?
Mocan is next. That will be April 18th for anybody watching the video and wants to know. And that is in Ashbury, Missouri. And it's a Mopar only drag race, car show, and
Mopars invade Mocan.
swap meet. It is one of the funnest times you can have, in my opinion, right next to the Indy swap meet. If Indy swap meet had drag races going on, I would say it'd be just as good. All right, you want to pause that?
We're back on camera.
Alrighty, so we have the mysterious black and yellow tote, which houses the bane of my existence, a bunch of factory Carter carburetors. We actually did sell a number of these. We had them priced down to 60 bucks, and we sold most of them for 40 to 50. The only exclusion is the 625 Carter competition carburetor. But I was happy to see a lot of guys take some of these homes, whether it was for parts or just to own a really cheap one of these carburetors that went to their car or something. It felt pretty cool, so I'm going to leave this guy fully intact because it'll be another one that goes to another swap meet until we can, well, find homes for it. All right.
Oh, that one looks heavy.
This one, I got a feeling. Wow! It's not that exciting. But what we have here is a selection of big block intake manifolds. Say if you were trying to figure out what you may want, we have a fine selection of single planes and then one dual quad intake, which is really not a great selection, to be honest. But here we have a original cast iron car intake, and you'll see there's no pipes here. Is your heat crossover that is opened up on your conventional car intake. But you'll notice this is basically the same shape, and the heat flows through the same place that the water does on the other intake. And I just think that's pretty daggone neat. Chrysler revising a mold and reusing some. And then we have your conventional 440 Torquer 2 intake. Something that I kind of view as a cheaper intake if someone just wants a 4-barrel. And then we have the only low deck flavor, the Street Dominator. An always excellent choice. Even though it looks like a big, ugly, scary single plane, this is one of the best intakes you can possibly run because it doesn't just act like a single plane, it acts more like a dual plane. You get everything out of it. I like this intake. It's what I swapped my 6-pack out of on my satellite, and this is my favorite intake, and I bought this one back from my buddy Mark at Bigfoot's and Mopars, and I'm glad it didn't sell because hunting one of these down sucks. So it's just gonna come back home and probably stick. These guys, I don't need them. They're heavy. But they'll go back on the shelf and someone will want them. Well, we'll address the obvious guys here. These turned out to be a set of 66 Sport Fury seats. I got these from my good friends Brian Hobbs and Owen Hobbs, who were selling them for their buddy Gary French.
Turn them around out of shadow, bud.
Oh.
There you go. That works.
And these seats, I have to recover the seats and do foam for my Polaris. And these things look almost identical for the most part. They're good enough to me. They got this one little crack here. They got a little bit of crunchy, but the fact is, there's no hole right where my butt goes.
Look at the backs on.
Yeah, these are some fancy seats. Clean all that up. And these will be good placeholders in the Polaris until we get nice seats in it. And these will make it into this will make it where it's an easy, able driver quality car. And we did get seat tracks and everything, but they're the reason why we didn't quite get everything in the truck. We had to remove them. But couldn't ask for any more. It was last minute buddy deal. They didn't have room, and well, I inherited this magical ability to play Tetris. Are you ready to see what's in?
Let's see what's in the green box.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It sounds kind of wily in there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in there. Ooh. Hoo-wee.
Oh my.
I know. This is a brand new Slant 6 cam. There's not much else to say about it. It was 20 bucks. Nobody wanted it, so it didn't sell. Here we got a set of NASCAR Hemi rods. Those came in 3 different lengths. These happen to be the 705 length, about 7 inches. And didn't have any takers, but that's perfectly fine because these are basically indestructible and, well, they make a good workout tool. I mean, you just do a couple of those and you're ready to go sit in your chair and drink a glass of tea and maybe a piece of cake. What else do we got in here, Dad? Do we go A or B? A or B?
I go with A.
A?
Yeah.
This was an item. Oh, wow, everything fell apart. Sweet. Oh, these are Zeus fasteners. Oh, that's even better. So I got Dad bought this for the Pro Stock setup because I sold my last flat bottom dragster style pan to my buddy Jimmy Frisbee. Really cool guy who helped me out with the Barracuda figuring out blowers. And my buddy Chuck had one of these and I waited too long to go try and make a deal, and then we found this one, which there's nothing to complain about. It's gonna be just perfect, just got a source pickup for it.
Yeah, we gotta get a pickup.
The price was right, couldn't argue, and it's true old school Mileton parts. And I have photos proof that that is the style of pan that was used with this style of chassis car from Sox and Martin. And this guy, Dad, I blame you 200%. You talked me into it.
I just couldn't believe all the nice welding on this thing.
This came from some really good friends of mine who do pulling trucks and just some of the absolute coolest stuff I've ever seen. They're always at Indy, and I just can't say enough nice things about all the cool people you get to meet at Indy. And the stuff like this you find that, well, to be honest, the asking price on it was $750. I ain't got that to waste on a cool ass intake like this. But you do a little bit of haggling and you make friends there, and it becomes something that's affordable that you can actually have. And what it is basically a super stock modified, it's a super stock custom fabricated cross ram intake for a Hemi. And one of the things that Dick Landy did when he was experimenting with cross rams, he found the closer you moved them together, the better fuel and air atomized. So as the carburetors normally would sit out here on a cross ram, all the super stock manifolds typically just get them closer and closer and get it right on the gnat's ass. And I imagine someone was doing that with this. And what I really like is it's got some lion crossflow vibes as far as the long bendy runners, just like the intake I used to have on Jezebel, which I still have. But it's just,
And of course, you got to be cool enough to have a Hemi to begin with.
yeah. It kind of looks like it's unfinished for the most part, but you know what? That's just the top lid. And I think this thing will be perfect. Like I said, it reminds me of the Lion Crossflow. I had some buddies check it out, and well, no one said, Jed, you're crazy and nuts. So it made me feel a lot better. So one little amendment I would like to add on the old Indy haul video on this particular, what we'll call a cross ram, tunnel ram, Hemi, super stock intake, whatever the heck you want to call it really. It has this plate, and on one side it says rear, and I saw it had these two bolts. This side, the same thing. And well, I put up a post in one of the Hemi groups on Facebook, and like your typical group, I asked a question, did not get the answer I wanted until one guy out of 30 comments gave me my answer. And he shared a picture of this Wilson's manifold. With the part number and everything listed on it. Well, there it is. You can see it plain as day right there, covered up with that little thin sheet metal tray. That is freaking cool as heck to me. So that tells me this was a professionally made intake, and it was maybe offered at one time. Yeah, it could be just like my Lion Crossflow intake that doesn't work and yada yada yada, but it still made 640 horsepower on the dyno on a 505 that made 650 horsepower with a conventional tunnel ram on the same 505. So maybe this style of intake isn't so bad. And plus now we got the Wilson name attached to it, so just wanted to share that with everybody because I thought that was pretty daggone neat. Hot dog. Yet another amendment I need to make, because the back side of this plate has some really interesting text on it. The egg-laying peptide provides tween genes expressed in, because I was just drawn to it, didn't say anything else about it.
What are all these little notches for?
You know, I think that's the part that where all those are on this side, but yet there's nothing going on here. I think that's part of the part where it's unfinished.
Unfinished.
But I mean, like, they did stuff like this little guy is specifically machined to lock in right there. So whoever built this thing, whoever spent all the money or whatever company made it, my hat's off to you, because that's a beautiful piece of equipment.
They did a lot of tractor pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they had this intake. They just had it, and I've always bought some pretty cool tunnel rams from them, so who knows, we might end up using that.
And truck pulling.
But all right, Dad, you ready for the next batch of stuff?
I guess so.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
Bam!
It's upside down.
Bam! And I wanted one of these rugs. These were actually really cool. They were cheap, like $10, weren't they?
You gotta come forward out of the shadow. There you go. That's good.
Yeah, they were. This is a nice little mat, and I was like, yeah, definitely gonna need one of them. Which you probably saw that in the hyperlapse. And one of the first. This is the first thing we bought, isn't it?
Yep.
It's Come on over here, Dad, if you can. Is we got ourselves more charger quarter panel extensions. You just can't go wrong with these, even if they got missing studs. We got 2 out of 3, and these ain't busted. They still got the little end tangies on them, and well, these are just always good to have.
Yeah, I remember looking for one when I was putting my charger together.
I had to give you one of the good ones off Jezebel.
Yep.
And then I got a pair from William that I just can't bring myself to repaint because they're beautiful GG1 green. Not that I really like that color, but I like it now. So here we got a pair of small block Lions that did not sell, but again, one of those things not too worried about. A set of Mickey Thompsons, which you really can't ever go wrong with, also small block. And then something I bought because I know every time I buy a pair, somebody's got to buy them from me, and it's almost annoying because I can never keep a set for myself. So I found a pretty good deal on a set of Cal Customs because these are like the most favorite valve cover, and whenever I can find a pair that still have the plug unpunched and at least has nice work here, these will take 2 screw-in breathers. These right here will polish up beautifully and make any engine look really nice. I didn't really buy those with the intentions to sell them, but I never really do. It's just, I buy stuff I like, and then I can't help it that other people end up liking it more than me. It's kind of a curse. And we have a set of chrome Orson big block covers. Open this up here. These came off of the 400 that's now in the old Polara. I guess I could have probably put them back on there. They work really good. They sealed up. In fact, I think they're sealing up better than the Ansons I put on there. And then we got a pair of just your typical tall chrome direct connection covers that, in my opinion, always really just set off an engine. Like my buddy William at Charger's Street Food Mopar, he just scored himself a pair of those and really made his 440 look beautiful.
What are these here?
Those are AMC Marine 3, those are V8 AMC valve covers. And they say 360 Prowler on them, or Panther, 360 Panther, Marine Tech Corporation on that old sticker. And these were something I bought with the intentions of maybe putting on my Javelin when I had it. This little rivet's where normally your ID tag goes on an AMC engine. And I ended up selling my Javelin. It had finned aluminum valve covers, so I never really had a use for these. But factory chrome valve covers to me are just as cool as any aluminum finned one to me, because the factory did that.
Yeah.
So, on to the purchase that started everything and made us go downhill from the beginning. It all started off with me heckling my buddy Brian at Dust Devil Garage to go buy parts for his 71 that he's going to be rebuilding on his channel eventually someday. And to get him to spend that $50 and mess up all of his build plans for his knuckle duster race car, I spent $200 because I couldn't pass up old school red painted Hemi hangers. And the guy I got them from is a very trustworthy dude, and he said they are pre-hustle stuff, which if you don't know what that means, hustle stuff is the catalog where you could buy parts for your Mopar car before Mopar Performance or Direct Connection were really established. A really neat thing. I have some of their catalogs. You can find them online as reproductions, and it's the early days of Mopar Performance parts.
So these are hustle stuff.
Supposedly. They look a lot like the hooker set I have, but, well, they're definitely older, to say the least. It's gonna take me a minute to unbag everything. There's a lot of stuff in here. I got these in a milk crate, and I couldn't fit the milk crate in the truck. So we got a bunch of extension tubes here. And then we got the rest of the headers here. So there's just a big junker gym of tubes that you gotta assemble. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle, but for an adult man-child. Adult man-child, that's what it is. And that took up all that space. What do you say, Dad? You think I had to assemble these?
Did you ever get one of them assembled?
I got one of them loosely assembled at the show.
See if you can figure that out. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
All right, we'll pause the camera. I'll make this as... Alrighty. What's the challenge, Dad?
See if you can't put one of them together.
Oh, just one of them? Oh, I'll do the easy one then.
Well, make sure you got enough parts for two of them.
It won't take nothing to actually put these together because you got two tubes on this side, and then you got a middle section here, an end, and another end. So it's actually pretty easy to figure out what goes where. The biggest challenge is getting everything to fit together because, well, they've not got any instructions, and well, you just got to kind of figure it out, which
That
like
looks
on that
easy
pair,
enough there.
that's exactly how those go together. So
Put
let's
the
see if we can
collector
get a
on.
collector on there. Thought I had it. You didn't know it was going to take this long, did you, Dad?
We got plenty of film.
Luckily. So now I know I had the wrong end.
At least it doesn't have a mud dauber in it.
There actually is.
Is there?
Right in the center.
Nah.
They're everywhere. Well, so much for that just being super freaking easy just to slap on together, Dad.
Well, it all went together.
It took both Scott hands and brains. 'Cause the pieces will go together, but it's getting everything lined up with the collector and then getting these bolts lined up. And Dad resorted to a technique that I actually did, and I learned it from Dad, bolting the flanges together. And it's actually how my set of Hooker Super Comp Hemi headers used to be stored. And, well, once you bolt them on an engine, you can't do that no more. But it's kind of remarkable what to compare the Hookers with the oldies. So, I think it'd be kind of fun. Maybe this other header will go together much easier, or maybe it'll fight us just as much because it's a lot more pieces. So, you ready for a little hyperlapse in action, Dad?
I guess so.
And a whole bunch of frustration?
I still think the bolting the flange together would be the same as bolting it to the head.
I say we go ahead and do that still. Yep. Alright, Dad, we spent entirely too long balancing our individual headers there. Oh my. But are those just the coolest things I've ever laid my eyes on? Yeah, don't touch anything. It took us both. It was kind of a little race to see who could stand their header up first. But, Dad, you kind of had an advantage.
Yeah, mine's laying. Mine's a little lower than yours. Yours looks better.
There's a look at.
They must have had those extensions on for cross member, removing the collector. Remember that used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Mr. Norm or whatever did that.
Yeah, because we got all these extension pipes, and then these were probably originally the rest of the header extensions, and they cut them off when they got them tuned in.
Yeah, he made a big deal out of tuning them by length.
Yeah.
Collecting.
These little guys, these little red pipes here that came with them that still kind of curious about.
Well, I think they just moved the whole collector back, maybe.
Yeah. Let me go grab one of my other Hooker branded headers and let's compare one. Well, you see what I see, Dad?
Same thing?
Basically. Well, I mean, Mopar, they recommended Hooker headers for like all the Hemi darts and stuff. Maybe they're just hustle stuff, I don't know, but they are identical.
Yeah, that's the same fins.
And when I know how well these fit in your Charger, these ones, because these were the ones in your Charger at first.
Right.
And then I traded you out of the ones that are in there ceramic coated. Well-worked race headers and had a million joints to leak. And so now we got 2 sets, which is good because we got a broken Hemi and then we got a Hemi aluminum Hemi block. So you need at least 2 sets of headers.
Yep.
You need at least a couple of tunnel rams.
Unless we turned into a boat, we got boat headers.
And we got boat headers.
We got boat Hemi headers.
But this, we kind of spent a lot of time on these Hemi headers here, and we still have one more thing to show them, which was one of the biggest reasons for me going to the swap meet besides delivering Ken's W2 badass heads and the tunnel ram for William, and and the valve covers for Jeff, and I had a lot of deliveries for friends, and I also had a delivery waiting for me from one of my friends. What do you say, Dad? We'll show them what's in the black bag.
Unbox that baby.
Yep.
The black box.
Whew. That is a lot of stuff for a guy who went to a swap meet to sell, right?
Oh, my poor trash bag.
It's like Christmas, but better. Because this is one of those items that I didn't really care if they sold or not. Because it isn't every day that you get to buy 4 brand new in the boxes Stage 6 Mopar performance heads. And when I say brand spanking new, they got a little bit of water on them. But
Where'd they get that from?
I don't know. I thought we had them covered up pretty good. I guess we're gonna have to take those outside and dry
They
them.
might be sweating.
They could be sweating, yeah. That's a good point. But
Look at them bad boys.
we got 2 different sets. They are both brand new. And they already got their bronze valve guides, their seats. They're set up for 2 14 intakes, 181 exhausts. Ports are just cleaned up to where they work and give you all sorts of room to grow. I don't see any way a man could go wrong. Yeah, anybody can buy. I'm not saying nothing bad about 440 Source or Trick Flow, but anybody can go and buy those. Nowadays, you want to stand out and build something unique, something that not just everybody's got, and say you're a real Mopar nut, right there. I got plans for at least 1 set of these heads. I'm going to try and save these boxes even though it's a waste. But yeah, these ones use all the standard Chrysler. Normal length valves, normal rockers, nothing crazy. You get this set. That port size, and then you got that set. But
Quite a difference there.
the most beautiful combustion chamber a man could ever ask for. You cannot do any better than a heart-shaped chamber. Normal exhaust location, straight spark plug location. Both sets still use shaft mount rockers, and these are not the ones that had porosity issues. I am ecstatic to own those because I've looked at pictures of those online, and I've always thought, man, that'd be cool just to have a pair of those to put on an engine and build something all Mopar themed. Well, guess who's going to do that now? Oh yeah. And plus, aluminum heads are so much lighter than iron heads, so Well, in our excitement, we forgot a few things that were still in the old dollar here.
Oh shoot. We've got a lot of things.
I know. What's up with all that, Dad? What'd you get?
Well, I got some seat cover for my charger.
Oh,
They're brand new, handmade.
those are really nice. I'm glad you went and dealt for those.
To the right pattern.
Mm-hmm. I like the black and the silver gray. That'll look really nice.
The bottoms and the tops. And then we got the dude's number so he said he'd make something for our back seat, for my back seat.
And it wasn't going to be super expensive neither, so that was another big plus.
Yeah, these are brand new.
They're beautiful. I can't believe we almost forgot about those.
Then we got some signage.
Yeah, I mean, like that sign's like always at the local farm store, but we never can find one, so.
Then we got.
And then Dad got himself another charger little. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we got one of these little, it looks like a gas lamp or a old gas pump. It's glass, but it's made for pouring your drink. And one of them we got as a lamp, and well, this one is probably still.
I think you just fill it up with. See, it's got a little picture of a cocktail glass.
Yeah, it might be kind of neat.
I think it's supposed to sit on a bar.
We got one that's a lamp, and then one that's, I don't know about putting liquid in the other one that's got an electrical outlet hooked up to it, because I saw the cord. It runs right in the middle of that.
Yeah, it's got a hole right. It wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't hold very good.
And it might be kind of a shocking experience, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. I forgot I got a Indy cylinder head catalog because, well, Indy, in my opinion, they've come a long way as far as that. We got an events calendar for all the car shows and stuff coming up in the Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio area, which not really sure how much that's going to help us being in Kansas, but you know, it's just one of those things. And I don't want to forget to show off some things that Rob made for us. The little dragons, Rob, Anna still has, and there's no way I'm going to be able to show those on camera because she's like hoarded them somewhere. This is for Yeti Jake. And then Rob printed me off one of these super cool carburetor hats that holds all sorts of gadgets and gizmos. And I did pick up another Mopar performance book to add to the collection. And another direct connection parts catalog to further complete the library. So, Dad, I don't think Indy 2026 could have gone any better, really. We could have made a little bit more money, sold a couple more parts, but you know what? I think we came home with just all the right stuff. And it's funny that those two right there were sitting at our buddy Ron's house, who lives basically 15 miles away. And it took us driving all the way to Indianapolis to figure out he had them and his wife wanted him to get rid of them. Mary, nothing against you, but how could you not love that? Come on.
Fill her up.
That's just the coolest thing ever. Fill that up with our tea. Put that right next to your chair, Dad. Heck yeah. Well, did you get some relaxation time in, Dad?
Yeah, a little bit.
I got this side of the shop kind of set up how I think we were talking about. But I'm pretty happy with how, now on camera it's kind of hard to show how much space we actually kind of have after cleaning up in here. But I mean, all I really got to put away is that one tote of intakes, and the t-shirts will go back upstairs for storage. The valve covers will go back up on that ledge up there, and we'll hang the headers up in the normal hanging header place. And well,
The old pan to an apartment.
might be a good time just to remock up the old Pro Stock motor. You know, maybe it's been long enough from it sitting around upside down.
Become quite a flat surface.
It has. Record player, air cleaner, foam cushion, and a hat. It's like Jenga. How much stuff can you fit on there and squeeze in here before you knock everything off of the motor plate? Well, actually, I guess that's the mid plate. But yeah, we got one little shelf we're going to put there instead of the red cabinet. Like I said, we might put a taller one there, and then we can really stack some more stuff on there. We'll put our wall back up between the sandblaster and well, everywhere else. So, Dad, Indy this weekend, heck of a good time, Dad. And all of it is thanks to you. It's thanks to you, Dad.
Yeah, well,
Well, I want to thank everybody who watched this video with me and Dad unboxing all the things we found at Indy. Hope you enjoyed. I know I did. So as always, look forward to seeing you folks in the next video as always. Take care and
bye-bye.
bye-bye. All right, here's your secondary ending, because, god dang. That's good looking, Dad. What?
There's a lot of stuff.
That's almost too much for a man to take in. Daggone! Woohoo! Side note, all the Mopar performance boxes for those heads, they're all right. They're drying out. They're keeping their shape. It's good.